Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Willow Wonderings. Today we're going to be doing a Q&A. So I have a few questions lined up. So let's go. Who am I? My name is Chelsea. I'm 32. I am not. I'm 34. I live in Arkansas and I'm in the Navy. I've been in the Navy for about 7.5 years and have enjoyed it so far. There's a lot that I've been able to see, a lot I've been able to do, and so many people that I've been able to encounter, and I'm so grateful for those opportunities. I love to go hiking. I love gardening. I love plants and puzzles and new adventures. I love challenges. I like working outside. I enjoy doing projects around the house. I love building things. I'm a woman of many talents and skills, and I enjoy just keeping so many things open and being able to take care of whatever I need to. I've always been a very self sufficient, independent person and love to support people and help people with projects and things that they need. So I have a lot of fun with that. Um, The second question is, what is the number one goal I'm working toward and what created that spark? So, my biggest goal that I'm working on right now is a 100-mile race or an ultra marathon that I have scheduled for October 28th. The race is 25 weeks away. I've been training for most of the year, not just for this race, but for another race that I did back in February. I started in October, I think, of last year. So by that point, will be about a year of training. The race that I'm scheduled to do is the Rails to Trails Kansas, or in Kansas, something extravaganza. I'm super excited. It's been a goal of mine since last year to complete a 100-mile race and be able to cross that finish line with those 100 miles under my belt. So I'm very excited about that. I'm very gritty and determined and ready to do whatever it takes to be able to meet that goal. So what sparked that for me, I've always hated running, always hated running. And I heard one time, that if you aren't good at something or you don't enjoy something or you despise something, do more of that. Particularly in the gym, but do more of what you don't like because then you become more confident with that thing. And what was scary or made you fearful or whatever it is that was holding you back from that, it can't hold you anymore. And you conquer that fear. So I enjoy doing physical challenges. I really enjoy running now, and I feel weird if I don't get a run in. So that's new, but I'm really loving it. This will be my third ultra. The first one was in April of last year in Arkansas in one of the state parks that was close to my house. And the second, and I did not complete that one. I was able to complete 26 miles of that race. And the second one was this past February in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And I did not complete that one, but I did finish 48 miles, and that was more than I've ever run or walked in that, for that matter. But I really started getting into like 5Ks and when 5Ks were kind of done for me, which I still do some, but I started challenging myself with marathons. I kind of skipped right over half marathons, and I've done 3 marathons or 4 marathons. Two of them were back-to-back one weekend. It was a Saturday and Sunday, and I did one in Richmond, Virginia, and then we drove to Outer Banks, North Carolina, and did the second one in Outer Banks. I did that one, or those two, with a friend of mine. And if she's listening, Katie, that was an amazing weekend and also was so challenging. I remember running next to Katie and on the second race, and I was just moving my feet, and all I could do was jog, but I was jogging slower than Katie was walking. And it was such a fun time, and we enjoyed it, and we finished both of those races. And for probably a month after, I struggled to walk, and I had so many things to overcome after those races, but I had the best time being able to do those with her and accomplishing that. So after that, I started looking into other things, and I started, I didn't really find ultra running then, but one of those two marathons was primarily on the trails, and I really started enjoying that. And I knew that I liked to hike already, and eventually developed a passion to hike the PCT, which is, or the Pacific Crest Trail, which is still on my list, but I haven't scheduled when that one's going to be yet. I have some big plans for next year, but I'm going to keep that close to my chest for now. But I really started developing this love for ultra running and this desire to complete 100 miles probably last year, or the end of 2021, after a deployment and moving to a new town, trying to figure out what I'm into, what I like, and all of that. And it wasn't until late 21 that I really started to really think that I could, or that I wanted to try it. So I started training and started getting really heavy into the running, and waking up super early to be able to get a run in. And so from there, I've made it to this point, and I don't have any plans of stopping. There's several races in the future that I definitely want to try, or at least distances. So this won't be the last one. And I'm sure there will be more 100-milers to come after this. One goal that I'd like to achieve, but can't seem to find the motivation or means to do so. For this one, I always set out to try to save a bunch of money in a savings account. I don't use all of the other things that I know will compound, or whatever, any of those things. And so I have a savings account so I can see it, and I have a lofty goal to save up so much money by the end of this year. But we have house projects and vet bills and things that come up out of the blue. And so sometimes it just seems like that number could never be possible, but I'm still believing that it is. But it tends to slip away from me. So that's probably the biggest goal that I'd like to achieve, so that I'm set up for when I get out of the military and I have some funds to be able to give me wiggle room and that kind of thing, move where I want to move, and be able to spend some time just enjoying life and traveling and that kind of thing. The next question: who was I 5 years ago, and who am I today? So, 5 years ago was 2019. At the end of 2019, the ship that I was on was getting ready for a deployment, which would have been my second deployment with that ship. And 2020, we went on we call it a COVID cruise, and we were out to sea for 8 months, with 7 months, without getting off the ship. And so at that time, just circumstantially, I was probably slightly depressed. Definitely not motivated to work out, not motivated to do anything but my job and watch movies and sleep in my spare time. I didn't really have the motivation to do anything else. So I had gained a lot of weight. I had kind of just, we did some challenges on the ship and some like biking challenges and running challenges. And I wasn't really into doing the running then. So I participated in those and had a good time with it, but I definitely had let myself go a lot. Um, the next couple of years after that, I had ended up getting divorced. Um, I did not deal with my divorce very well. I ended up leaning heavily on alcohol and let that kind of shape my everyday. I wouldn't say that I was addicted, but I definitely used it to cope with all of my feelings. And I'm the type of person that just grew up kind of stuffing down and stuffing down and stuffing down all of the feelings and not really trying to even confront them. I had talked to a therapist at one point to try to get through it, to try to figure out who am I? Who am I anymore? I had no idea. That relationship was about 9 years, and I had really lost a sense of who I was. And so eventually, my best friend had talked me into trying one of the apps, and so her and I both did. So through that, I have now met my current partner, who I've been with for 2 years. We plan to get married in September, so super excited for that. Wedding plans in full swing, and I've been doing a lot of work on myself and self-discovery and breaking through a lot of the barriers that were holding me back. And the person that I am today the person that I was 5 years ago would never recognize the person that I am today. I have confronted so many of the stories that I used to tell myself. I've confronted the feelings that I stuffed down for so many years. I've confronted my childhood and my adulthood, and I take responsibility for everything that has happened in those time periods. And it's really difficult to do that, but I know that it makes me a better person for my family. It makes me a better person for me. I can show up for me. I can show up for other people so much better than before, where I'm taking care of myself. I'm able to take care of others. I'm able to take care of my family. I'm able to take care of my coworkers, and it's just been better. It's been so much more peaceful, and I feel so much more joyful and so much lighter, and feel like I can enjoy life. Um, I had worked with a couple of coaches over the past 6 months and really worked to originally lose weight, but ultimately to find myself and to build my mental fortitude. And I feel more aligned with who I am as a whole being more so than any other point in my life. More than when I was in college, more than when I was in high school, definitely more than when I was in high school, and I probably didn't know I definitely didn't know who I was then. I was still trying to figure it out, and I think that every day I figure out a little bit more, but there's always room to grow, and I look forward to who I continue to become and who I continue to reflect to the world, and I'm super excited about that. I wanna encourage you today to really just think about the impact that you're having on the world. Who were you 5 years ago? Who do you wanna be 5 years from now? I want to be living on a farm, I wanna have a remote job, I don't wanna be in the military anymore, I want to, have a family, and I can picture my dogs even running around on the farm and just chasing iguanas, grabbing fruit off the trees, and just having the best life, a carefree life, a free life. And I want you to just take some time to journal and examine what you picture your life to look like 5 years from now, 3 years from now, even just a year from now. What do you want to be? Who do you want to be 8 weeks from now, 6 months from now? Set some goals, write them down so that you can be accountable to them, and then follow through. Those are the biggest things with achieving your goals, with meeting the the things that you really strive to set out for. And you can be anyone that you want to be. You can be anyone that you want, anything that you want 5 years from now, 2 years from now, 1 year from now. You just have to set those goals, make it measurable so that you can keep track of it and be able to see how all of these mini steps make that possible. And once you get this step, then the next step and the next step, you eventually end up meeting that goal. When you're in the thick of it, it's hard to see that you've actually made any progress. But when you take those little steps and you write them down and you see that all these things have been checked off, and you can see a percentage, you can see the report, the data. The data won't lie. The data won't lie. The things that we tell ourselves, we might keep some stuff from ourselves. We might try to shield ourselves. We might try to make ourselves look better in front of other people, but the data won't lie. And so, who do you want to be? And how are you going to create that? I believe in you. And I know that whatever you set your mind to, you can absolutely do.